Culture shock is a very real thing. For anybody moving from one country to another, you're going to experience a whole lot of things that are going to add a little bit of stress to your life. And we all want as little stress as possible, right? I'm going to go over a few things here today to help make your time over here in Portugal a little bit more smooth and a little bit more easy. Life can be so different in Portugal depending on where you live. As with anywhere, bigger cities will provide greater services and conveniences. If you are someone who lives off of restaurant delivery and even grocery delivery in the States, you'll definitely want to live in one of the bigger cities or towns over here in Portugal because those services don't exist in the smaller towns and villages. Something else that I discovered quite quickly is that the smaller towns and villages do not have Uber or Bolt. Thank goodness I had the number of a taxi driver when I discovered this at the local shopping center after I just moved here and I had walked over to buy a whole bunch of stuff for my new apartment. I thought I'd just be able to grab an Uber on the way home, but no luck. Thank goodness I had already begun building a relationship with a local taxi driver. I had his number and I just sent him a little message. This slow pace of life can be amazing in your day-to-day living. I feel so much more nurtured and alive because I'm not always like go, 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 faster, 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 like in the United States. It never stops. It just gets crazier and busier and faster all the time. It's crazy. And over here, it's peaceful and it's calm and it just makes me so happy. So the slow pace of life can be absolutely wonderful, but when you really need to get something done, like say you're buying a house or you're trying to get your driver's license, those things can be unbearable at times. And so it just gives you the opportunity to really work on patience. That's not a bad thing, right? Now this is another one that I don't see as a negative at all, but I don't know, maybe some people will. I love this. In the United States, there is advertising everywhere. It's on the side of school buses, it's on the billboards, it's just everywhere. You can't get away from it. And typically they're advertising drugs and drug companies and shit like that. I don't need to see that stuff, okay? I really don't. Over here, we don't have that. There's a little bit of advertising here and there, but the lack of advertising, I have to say, again, is just, it creates an environment that is far more soothing and supportive to thriving. Imagine that. Now, unless you are in a bigger city or town, there is not a lot of variety to the different kinds of food or the restaurants that you'll find. It's pretty much going to be traditional Portuguese restaurants. And you know what? Okay, they are kind of pretty much all the same. So if you enjoy having a wide variety of restaurants to eat at, which I do, you'll want to live in a bigger town or city, or at least be close enough where you can just hop on a train and buzz right over there and go for a nice dinner. I live in a medium-sized town, and while we don't have like Moroccan food and Ethiopian food like I used to really love in the States, we've got plenty. We've got Thai, and we've got Indian, and we've got Chinese. And I'm close enough to Porto that I can go down there and have pretty much anything I want. If you are vegan or a vegetarian, I have to be honest, you probably are going to have a bit of a hard time here if you want to eat out all the time. If you want to eat at home, that's easy, right? You can totally take care of that. But if you're somebody who wants to eat vegetarian or vegan out at restaurants every day, it's probably not going to happen. There's one vegetarian restaurant here in town, and there's another one in a town about 20 minutes away, and of course there is Porto, so I can always go down there. Meals here are usually fish or meat and potatoes and I don't know, maybe what are those things called? Cabbage. It's called cabbage. They have a lot of potatoes and cabbage. Oh, and french fries. They love their french fries. And they're pretty good too. But vegetarian dishes, not so much. Like many other European countries, lunch is the biggest meal here in Portugal, and dinners are usually pretty late. So in the United States, I used to eat dinner around 5, maybe 6, and then I'd be done. I wouldn't eat anything after that. But here in Portugal, dinner is usually served around 8 and maybe even 9 o'clock at night. While I don't eat fast food, I have heard the quality is much better over here. It's not very common over here, but you can find it. I have seen a couple of McDonald's, a Burger King, and a KFC. While I do miss a good burrito bowl from Chipotle every now and again, I always find something yummy and satisfying over here. The quality of food all around is far better quality than I experienced over in the States. This is a typical meal at the mall food court. Wow, how amazing is that? Something to be aware of when you're in the United States and you ask for some water at a restaurant, they will bring you a glass of water. That is very uncommon over here. Usually what happens, if you ask for water in a restaurant, they will bring you a bottle of water, and usually you have a choice of a small bottle or a large, I don't know how big it is, 1 liter or 2 liters, but it's pretty darn big. And of course, you're going to be charged for the water. Now, they don't do this because they're nickel and diming you. It's just the way it's done. And another thing is, in the United States, your water oftentimes comes with ice. That doesn't happen over here. You can ask for it, but it is not just going to come with ice. The bottled water tastes great and it hardly costs anything. So really, it's not a big deal. Just enjoy it. In the US, cafes are typically filled with people all working on their computers. Here, cafes are filled with people having conversation, reading a book, or just watching the day roll by. It's awesome. Whatever you end up doing, waitstaff will leave you alone so you can enjoy your time there. Eating out at restaurants is such a common part of our lives now, especially for me. I eat out almost every single day. And something to be aware of is that in almost all of the traditional Portuguese restaurants, they're going to bring out a really nice basket of bread and some olives and maybe a little bit of cheese or some pate and maybe a couple little, I don't know, these little yummy things that have bacalhau in them. It's really good. But they're not free, okay? So this is a common practice for most restaurants to do this. And there's a very small fee if you end up eating it. If they bring it and it just sits on the table and you don't eat it, you won't pay for it. But if you eat it, you're gonna pay. Tipping in Portugal. Okay, this has not been a practice for many, many years, if ever, in Portugal. But I have to say, now that things are changing so much here, especially in the last couple years, the Portuguese people live on very, very little. And I feel that as Americans and expats coming into this country that we should give a little bit more. Now, I'm not saying we should tip even the 15, 20, or 25% that is expected in the United States on top of the super high bills that you have there. I'm just saying a couple of euros to show some appreciation and some care for these amazing people that are allowing us to live in their country. So think about it. When you go out to a restaurant and you enjoy a really nice meal, just leave a couple of euros in appreciation for your waitstaff. Now, living in the United States, you might not think it's strange that when you're eating at a restaurant and it's time to pay, you hand over your credit card and you give it to this total stranger. You have no idea where they're going to go, what they're going to do with it. You assume they're going to just take it to pay for your food, but you don't know, right? Weird things happen all the time. In Europe and in Portugal, this never happens. When it's time to pay, either you go up and you pay, depends on which kind of a restaurant it is, or they will bring a little credit card machine to your table and you pay right there at the table. It's awesome. Now, going back to the slow pace of life here in Portugal, it's rare to find coffee to go. There are no drive-thrus, and it's thought to be rude to eat and drink while walking and driving. Eating and drinking is considered something special and not to be rushed. And it's a wonderful shift in my life and my living to just go and eat and enjoy and not like shovel food in my face while I'm driving my car or working or whatever, rushing from here to there. I can just breathe and enjoy life and my coffee too. Okay, now here's a fun one. Oftentimes, wine and beer are cheaper, or at least right around the same price as water. Get this. In the United States, I would pay, I don't know, $10, $15, even $18 for just a glass of wine. Okay, the wine was pretty good. But the wine over here is just as good, if not better. And I'm paying, get this, between 50 cents to $2 for beer or wine. And sometimes that's a half carafe of wine. Oh my God. Oh, that's so crazy. I love it. I'm gonna go have one right now. Now this one is important. You wanna make sure you got this down because you don't wanna find out when you are starving. Most restaurants close between 3 and 7 p.m. You can still find small cafes open where you can usually pick up a sandwich or a pastry, something like that, something light, but no full meals unless it's before 3 or after 7. So make sure that you plan accordingly because it's no fun when you're starving and you can't find anything to eat. All right, this one is still weird to me. I don't get it. But hey, that's just the American in me, I guess, because I think it's pretty normal throughout all of Europe. When renting or buying an apartment or house in Portugal, you might see in the description that it says furnished kitchen in the description. Now, this doesn't mean that it's furnished with a table and chairs. It means that it includes things like a refrigerator, stove, and oven. These things are not usually included. So if it says that in the description, you've lucked out. Along these same lines, lighting is typically also not included. Lights are purchased and then installed by the new homeowners or renters. It's common that you have to bring and install your own light fixtures, fridge, and stove when you rent an apartment or house. This never occurred to me until I finally had furniture for my apartment and realized that I might not actually be able to get my furniture into my apartment. And I don't have big pieces of furniture. Many older buildings either do not have elevators at all, or they have very tiny elevators and teeny tiny stairways that it's really hard to get anything up or down. We learned this the hard way, getting our few pieces of furniture, which were not large by any means, up this narrow stairway was near impossible, and I thought we might have death on our hands as the person below this little cupboard was lifting it up, and I thought they were gonna get crushed. It was scary. So yeah, be aware. Keep your eyes open, and when you look for an apartment, check out the elevators, the stairways, path to your apartment, and make sure you can get your stuff in there. This can make moving quite a lot more challenging, especially if you live up on the 3rd or the 4th or even the 5th floor. Like in many other parts of Europe, floor numbers are different over here. In the States, the ground floor is called the first floor. Over here, the ground floor is floor 0, and then the floor after that is the first floor. A little confusing if you aren't expecting it. While hanging your laundry out to dry in the States is usually frowned upon, you see this everywhere in Portugal thanks to the high cost of electricity and the plentiful good weather. So yes, you too can have fresh, sun-drenched clothes here in Portugal. Just hang them outside your window. Now, when I first heard about this first one, I was still over in the States, and I thought, that can't possibly be true. I mean, how in the world can people possibly live like that? It sounded awful to me, and it can be awful. It can be. I experienced it. We didn't live in this one place for that long because of what I'm just about to tell you. Many of the older homes here in Portugal do not have central heating. They have no heating whatsoever. And the winters do get quite cold here. So it's not like in Colorado or I don't know, Vermont, New York, places like that where you get a lot of snow and ice, and it doesn't get that cold here in Portugal. but it does get cold. And these homes that typically do not have central heating, they are also not insulated, and they are built typically to keep people cool in the summertime without really any consideration for the cold winter months. Bidets, bidets, bidets. You're gonna see them in pretty much every house, everywhere. I don't know what the fascination is with these bidets, but they're everywhere. Something you'll see all throughout Portugal are these abandoned, dilapidated structures, which honestly I find quite beautiful. I think they're stunning. And in the United States, we typically don't see things like this. I mean, these buildings can be hundreds of years old, and often are. And the reason that they are abandoned is oftentimes maybe the family members are no longer alive, or maybe they simply just don't have the money, the funds, the resources to bring these structures back to life. Now, especially more in the center of the country where it gets really hot, and a lot of people have left the internal part of the country because there aren't as many jobs there. There just aren't the financial opportunities. So many people have left the inside part of the country, and so many of those homes have been abandoned and they're falling apart. So maybe this means is an opportunity for you to buy one of these and bring it back to life. So let's say you're going to the bathroom to use one of those lovely bidets or whatever, and you can't find the light switch. Where the hell is the light switch, right? It's probably outside the door. Now, I don't get this, but maybe it's to save money on electrical wiring. I don't really know. But in most homes, especially the older ones, maybe not so much in the newer ones, but in most of these older homes, the light switch will be outside the door. So if you can't find the light switch, go outside the room and look out there. I bet that's where it is. Folks here love to walk. I love to walk, so it's a really good fit. And one of the things that's really kind of amazing is that crosswalks rule. If somebody steps into a crosswalk, you have to stop as the driver. You have to stop. Now, it's different in the cities where there's a lot more traffic, and the rules are a little bit different there. I know that they have actual, like the lights there that say, the little green person, it's time to walk, and the red person, you need to stop. But in the smaller towns and villages, we don't have lights like that. It's just, there's a crosswalk. If there's a person walking in the crosswalk, the driver stops. That's it. In the United States, I would be terrified to just walk. I think I would probably get flattened because most people do not pay attention to the rules in the United States, and people just fly right by when somebody is in a crosswalk. That doesn't happen here. Driving in Portugal. Now, this is the one thing that pretty much any expat that I've spoken to 100% agrees on. Oh my God, it is one of the few things here in Portugal that can be quite stress-inducing. I have never had so many people tailgate me so close that I think I'm probably gonna die. Even like the big trucks, and we don't have the big massive trucks over here like you have in the United States, those big huge 18-wheelers. We've got some big honking trucks. And it's really kind of scary when you're going full speed on the highway and they are so close on your butt that they're like 6 feet behind you. It's crazy. I don't get it. They are peaceful, kind, wonderful people, and then they get behind the car, the wheel, and they go so fast and they tailgate like crazy. We had a guy on a motorcycle try and run us off the road because he didn't think we were going fast enough, even though we were going way above the speed limit. Okay, so driving is something to be prepared for. Maybe don't even drive, just hire a driver, hire an Uber driver, or take the train. It's probably much better that way. But if you must drive, there are a few things that you have to be aware of. First, in the United States, over 90% of the cars there are automatic. And over here, it's reversed. Over 90% of the cars here in Portugal are stick shift. So if you don't know how to drive a stick, you might have a little bit of a difficult time. Also, just a few other things to be aware of. There are traffic circles everywhere. Roundabouts, traffic circles everywhere. You're gonna drive in so many circles. Doo, 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 doo. It just is nonstop with these traffic circles. But if you do come to a light and it's red, don't think that you can turn right on red. That is not a thing here. You will get a ticket. I'm still amazed when I see full-size cars over here. I'm thinking, what the hell are you doing? They must not be driving on the same roads that I'm driving on, because some of the roads that I drive on, I have a little car and I'm terrified that I'm gonna get stuck in there because they are so tiny, like. And no, I was not drinking before this video. Why do you ask? Just because wine is like under €2 a glass, why would you think I'd be drinking? Aside from the teeny tiny roads that do not look like any car should ever be on it, there is something else wonderful about Portugal. Their parking garages are spiffy clean. So spiffy clean, in fact, that my wheels screech when I turn because it's just like so shiny and clean and wonderful. And another thing is I go to Braga maybe once a month to get my car detailed. The car detailing and car wash place is inside the parking garage, and guess how much it costs to get my car detailed? In the United States, it costs like, I don't know, $200. Over here, it only cost me €30. And my car looks so darn good, I almost didn't recognize it. I thought it was somebody else's. Now, I'm not quite sure what the rules are or if there are any rules, but it seems that people park pretty much anywhere they want. They park on the sidewalk, they park on the grass, they'll park in front of other people that are parked legally in parking spots, and then it's kind of a drag when you come out and you gotta go somewhere, but you can't go somewhere because somebody's parked right behind you and you have no idea where they are. So, yep, that's the way it goes. When that happens, when your car actually gets blocked in because somebody's parked behind you because probably they're going to some cafe somewhere right around there getting a coffee or a beer or a wine or whatever, hanging out with their friends. Well, why don't you just go join them? And then later on, when you're on your way and you need to go fill up your car with gas, things are a little different over here. In the United States, when you fill up your car with gas, you take your credit card and you stick it in the little machine so that the pump will start up. Over here, you don't need to do that. Once you pull up, the pump just starts up all on its own. You take the thing off and you stick it in your car and you start filling up your car. And then after you've filled up your car with gas and you put the little pump thing back in there, you go inside and you pay. It's not like in the United States where you have to pay beforehand because people are very trustworthy over here, and they also have cameras and things too, so if you do speed away, they'll come and get you, but it doesn't happen over here. I've never seen a gas station attendant over here. I just don't think that's a thing. You don't have people over here that'll pump your gas for you. You gotta get out of your car and you gotta do it yourself. Gas is not measured in gallons over here, it's measured in liters, and it's very expensive. At $1.79 a liter, which is where it's at right now, that's around $8 a gallon. That alone is a pretty major culture shock, don't you think? I have found time and time again that the people here are genuinely kind and friendly and helpful and beautiful, and even with their lives becoming far more difficult because we, expats, are moving into their country and shifting things very, very fast, making their lives far more difficult than they have been in ever. They are still so kind and so beautiful. One of the things I really love about Portugal is the way they greet each other here. A little kiss on the cheek, it just feels so sweet. Now here it's a little bit different than it is in Italy. Here you kiss the right cheek first and then the left, and in Italy it's the reverse. All right folks, That's all I've got for you today, but I do have many more things on culture shock that I do want to share with you. But if I were to put it in this video, you would be here all day long, and I'm sure that's not what you want to be doing with your day. So I'll probably put together another video, I don't know, a couple weeks, a month, whatever. But if you like, subscribe, and ding that bell button, guess what? You'll be alerted when that amazing video comes out. Don't miss it.